My name is Steve Koff. I'm the store manager for the Carroll Wal-Mart.
And I'm Christian Hovey, and I'm interviewing him for the social categorization in psychology. Steve, question one is, as a manager of Walmart, what are your responsibilities?
Okay. Basically, as a store manager for Walmart, it's my responsibilities. I'm responsible for, our store does $50 million in sales, so I have a sales budget that I'm responsible for. To bring in profitability for Walmart. I employ well over 200 people in this building, so I'm responsible for the well-being and the development and the morale of 200 associates. We have 17,000 paying customers that walk through our door every week, so responsible for everything that has to do with their shopping experience when they come into the building. So that's a very broad. We have about $8 million of inventory in this building, so the flow of that inventory, so it's multifaceted to say the least.
That's pretty interesting. I never knew that. How does it feel to actually be in your shoes in this kind of setting? Do you like what you do?
I strive off of what I do because I think that to be responsible for all those things that we just talked about, I think it is. I think it's there's only 4,000 people in the United States that do what I do, and because that's what Walmart employs as far as store managers. So I think it's an honor. I think it's a challenge every single day. And the biggest thing in my position, why I like it so much, it's different every day. I'm dealing with people every day. So my job is to help people do their jobs and help people live a better life.
And you said you employ 200 people in this Walmart alone. I mean, these people when they come off the street and they apply for a job here, how do you categorize people who walk through that door and sit down with you and talk to you?
So what do you mean categorize?
Categorize, like you see one person and you see another depending on what they wear. Like it's kind of like, what physical attributes do you look for right off the bat? Like it just clicks like that right when someone walks through that door.
I don't think I look at so much their physical attributes. I look and see how when they come to me, myself as an employer, I look and see what do they have that is going to be able to help take care of my customers. So I look at skill sets. And then I think that's probably the best way to put it.
Because social categorization basically means it's the mental process of classifying people into groups with limited information.
Okay.
So that's what that means. And so there's nothing that really right off the bat that would strike you.
Well, I look at when you do a job interview. So I'm just looking at you when you came in here. Okay. Very well dressed. You're groomed. You're very well groomed, very well spoken. I look at your, I like to call it an executive presence. You walked in, eye contact, handshake, all those things are things that not as myself as a store manager with Walmart, but anybody looking for, or any employer, those are things that I feel that they would look for.
So you're saying that basically the difference between me coming and giving you an eye contact handshake and someone who is kind of really nervous and nerve-wracking. I mean, can you get a good feeling about someone just by the first approach?
Absolutely, but I also think that not everybody. So you have a different skill set than maybe the next guy that would come in and perform the same interview. Maybe the next guy that came in would have wouldn't be as confident as you are right now. So the thing is what I would do is I would try and help put you at ease. So that way during this interview process, so I would help try and put you at ease, so that would help you perform better, and because a lot of people don't do that very well as far as that interview process.
Okay.
So that's as myself, that's how I handle that.
That's pretty good.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense actually. And you have 200 people that work here, and there's all these different kinds of jobs. Does race or gender affect the type of job that someone might have here?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not?
Absolutely not.
That's good. I mean, because there has been problems where we actually watched a video in psychology where it was a woman who, the reason she didn't get the job is because she was a woman.
Sure. No, no, absolutely not. Because you know what? If you look, I look at my store. I have 4 generations that work under this roof. So I mean, so you talk about when you look at the obstacles. I mean, you guys up with like Generation X and Y and all the differences between all the different. No, absolutely not. To answer your question.
Okay. You know, you work at Walmart, and this is one of the actually the biggest store in America and probably of all the world. And there's probably, you said before about, did you say how many people would walk through every day, you think?
In my store, I have between 17 and 19,000 paying customers a week.
So a week. So that's on average probably about...
I have a little less than 60,000 paying customers. But the way I look at it is, when you come to Walmart, usually there's the person who makes the purchase. They usually bring 2 people.
Okay.
So I usually look at, like, the mom comes, usually brings the husband and a child. So there are, every given week, I have at least 60,000 people coming through the door.
Now, have you ever in your time of working here, have you ever just sat by the door and greeted people who walk in?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. So when these people walk in, and you have a row of people, probably for you that range from an old person in a walker to a couple of boys just coming in here to fool around. How do you categorize those people? Like in your head, there's always, as I said before, you always get that first thought. I mean, you ever think about, you know, what are they doing here? What are they buying? How just, you know what I understand? When you categorize someone, the first thing that you see, what do you think when you see that person? Kind of like a stereotypical thought.
I try not to do that.
Try not to do that?
No, because I think it's wrong to put people in buckets. Because now you may come in and you may be well groomed, you know, all those things, but the cover may not match what's inside you.
Exactly.
So the thing is that as a store manager with Walmart, I think categorization is wrong, and I think profiling is wrong, and I don't do that.
You teach that to all of your employees?
Well, I mean, I've got a large base of associates, so I mean, Walmart's very big on diversity, and we have diversity is something that we're big on at Walmart. So when people come in, my thing is I greet them, and I want to find out. My thing is how I can make a better shopping experience for them. So if I see a couple kids come in, my first thought is, okay, these kids are going to go to toys and they're going to rip my toy department. No, I don't think that. So the answer to your question is I do not categorize, or yeah, I don't believe in putting people in buckets.
Okay. Well, the next question I had, you pretty much answered it already, but it was, do you ever get a bad vibe from someone? Do you ever just in your head, which you said you don't, and that's just one thing. Did you ever just thought maybe they're here for the wrong reason? There's nothing wrong with that, because I mean, I've done that before. Sure. When I used to work at Fairway, I worked there for 3 years. Sure. And that's the first thing I thought. I mean, every time I seen someone come in my head, I was like, okay, that's a woman with a bunch of kids. She's gonna get a bunch of food, and then you see this kid who comes in who has no business being in here, but he has every right to be. Sure. And that's just my thought process. So I guess my example would be if a group of kids who honestly looked like they were up to no good, you would not judge them. That's probably not a fair statement, because I probably would. So this is how I would do that. Is if I saw, and it happens, you know what? You can come in here every Friday night. Come into Walmart on Friday night at 8 o'clock, and that's what you see. You'll see a group of kids come in, and so what I do as a store manager is I let them come in, and I will not react until they give me a reason to react. So what I mean by that is I'll see a group of kids come in. I will make a mental note that this group of kids are in my building. Okay. So as I'm walking my store, now if I see, and it happens all the time, I'll see kids that take a football, and next thing I know, football goes flying past my head. So the first thing it is, like, you know what, guys, I'll go up and I'll approach them and say, here's the deal, is that this is a business environment. This is a store. You know what? If you guys are going to do that, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. So my first thought is when they come in, I make a mental note
that, you know what, this is the potential situation I have in my building, but I don't immediately put them into that bucket.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
That makes perfect sense, actually. And do you feel everyone has thoughts about Walmart? There's a bunch of jokes out there about people who work at Walmart. Do you feel like because your employees work at Walmart, or because of you work out, do you feel like someone might look down on you because you work at Walmart?
Look down at me?
I mean, you're a very well-groomed man. You could, if you just started off a conversation with someone, you know, I've been working at Walmart for the past 15 years, but not finish your sentence because the first thing that's going to come to their mind is it's Walmart.
Sure.
But they don't know that you're a very well-groomed manager of a very high corporation and probably make a lot of money, which is honestly none of my business. But I've been saying that's what would happen. And do you feel like the employees that maybe stock shelves for a living instead of being in your position, do you think people might look down upon them or not treat them right because of...
I think it's done because of lack of knowledge. And I don't want to say it's done out of ignorance, because I think that people, so those are people coming into Walmart, and those people, because we talk about categorizing, right? So those are people that are coming into a Walmart and categorizing that Walmart associate.
So it's kind of a reverse process.
Absolutely, absolutely it is, 100%. Because you know what, people, and I don't, like I said, I don't want to say it's out of ignorance. I think it's out of lack of knowledge, because people don't realize that, you know, Walmart say, okay, so you get online, you can find all these anti-Walmart sites. And but what the fact of the matter is when you talk about wages, Walmart pays, they're on the high end of retail pay scales. If you look at longevity, I have 200 associates in this building. Out of those 200 associates, I bet you I have 30% of those associates that have been here more than 10 years. So if Walmart was not a good place to work, or if Walmart did not have benefits and, you know, all these things, I wouldn't have 30% of my people that have been here that have made a career out of this. So when people come in, and you're right, because I know about all the Walmart jokes and I know about that, it's done because people don't have the knowledge about what Walmart's really about.
Exactly.
So that's probably the best way I can answer that question.
Honestly, I mean, I could say that I was very ignorant, and before I became friends with
Christy,
sorry,
yeah, sure,
Christy's son Jake.
Sure.
I always got that that I used to come in here all the time with my friends and I would joke around like that. But now that I know Christy and she works here and all that stuff, it really, you know, it clicks in my head that, you know, this affects her in the long run. That, you know, if I was here and she was manager and she might have seen me do that and didn't do anything, or, you know, I wouldn't want to be on her bad side because it's my friend's mom. Sure. So that's what I'm trying to go with that.
Sure. There are so many opportunities within Walmart. I mean, a ton of opportunities. When we turn this off, we'll start a recruitment phase with you.
All right, sounds good. And the last question I have is, my boss, Kevin Weiniger, I work at Charlie's. I used to work there all the time, but because of my injury, I can't work. But he said actually that a workforce is like a team. And he's the head honcho, he's the quarterback. And that's how I look at it, because I play sports. I look at it as a football team. Sure. And every football team has some employees that wouldn't be, you know, or actually players, I would say, that, you know, in Miami Dolphins, you had Chad Ochocinco, who was doing all those bad things. Sure. And do you ever look at or suspect that maybe some of your employees might, you know, be not what you think they are? When you see them, they're working hard, but when you turn your back, do you ever feel like maybe because of who they are, they might be not doing the right thing, which is going back to being stereotypical, which I'm just saying, how do I say this? You have an employee, and you have him looking, whenever you see him, he's doing good things. You ever had, because in your head, oh man, I'm really screwing this up right now because it's hard to say this, but it reads right here, without names of these employees of this team, that you would feel someone, because of their race or simply because they did not like the way the person acted in the store, would they help that person?
Okay, let's read this. They say a workforce is a family or a team without names. Is there employees of this team that you feel would not help someone because of their race? or because simply did not like the way the person acted in the store? I would like to think not. And
Most people would.
Right, but like I said, when you have 200 people, you know what? Could there be there could be. So I can't answer the motivation for each associate when they have customer contact. So I would have to say that I would like to think not, but I think that I would be naive to say that that would never happen in my building.
Okay.
Is that a fair answer?
That's actually a perfect answer, and that's the last question I have was that, and I feel like you provided me with awesome information.